park originally started with the founders, Joy Palmer and John Palmer. So they moved here in 1976 and then they opened in 1989. Now when they originally moved here from up country, they came to Lou first, and they had like chickens and ponies and goats, and then obviously they needed more land obviously for the animals that they acquired, and then they found porfell, and that's when they moved here in 1976. And then with that, it all started off with either wallabies and raccoons. So my mother-in-law, Joy Palmer, wanted raccoons and wallabies, and they met people that used to own the Dartmoor Zoo. So they got friendly with them, and then they had the raccoons and the wallabies. And then they also found a raccoon in Liskeard. So there was a lady there that was starting up with the RSPCA, and I think she had to go away and travel, so she couldn't take the raccoon with her. So they took on the raccoon, and then that's how it all started, with having to get the licenses and everything like that. And then obviously came more and more animals with the more networks that they made, and then I believe one of their friends said to them about opening up to the public. Porfell is really different compared to other zoos. Yes, we have a zoo license, but we are a sanctuary. The reason we are different is because we take in unwanted animals from other zoos, surplus animals, animals that you would have seen here would have actually been put down in other places. We give them a home for life. It doesn't matter if they're disabled, have got one arm, obviously you've seen Nelson and Fudge there. We take on the animals that no one else wants, so they have the home here for life. It doesn't matter if there's one in an enclosure, as long as they're not showing any stereotypical behaviour. So this is a really, really important and vital service for the animals, because they would just get put down, they would be put to sleep. Where here they have a home for life, they are cared for, they are loved, and they get to live out their natural life here. So the core mission is actually to give the animals a home for life. Every animal that we have here, we don't put down unless it's absolutely necessary, you know, if they're ill, unwell, or we're advised to by the vet. We give them the home for life and the home that they need. Like I said before, where other places would just either maybe put them to sleep or down, we don't do that. We care for the elderly, basically the older animals, the animals that no one really wants, you know, they all come to us. Do you know, it's really important, because without the public, places like this wouldn't exist. Like I said, you know, we are part of zoos, you know, we have the license, so we do have, you know, all the licensing, but we are smaller, you know, we are different, we are a sanctuary, you know, we have such a diverse range of animals. I think we have over 140 animals currently here, and each one's cared for all uniquely, so it's very different. You know, we're very much hands-on. It's really important for the public to come here and care for us, because we provide that service for these animals. We would not be able to survive without the public. We're not funded by anyone. We don't get any public grants. We get nothing. So we are solely reliant on public's admissions and donations. Without this, we wouldn't be able to afford the vet bills. You know, we wouldn't be able to pay the keepers. You know, the specialised food. You know, we don't get all that extra funding like the other big places do. And also, without the public, we won't be able to care for these animals. These animals here, you see, like I said, they have a home for life. You would have seen that whilst walking around, you know, the diverse range of animals that we have here. We take in basically all the unwanted animals that no one else wants or can't care for. So yeah, it's really important that the public continue to support us so we can continue this mission. We've been going now for 37 years, and you know what, we want to see it continue down into the family and for it to go for another 30, 40 and hopefully more if anyone else can take it on within the family. The most rewarding part actually of working here is, do you know what, is actually being hands-on, and obviously because I'm the daughter-in-law of the park owner, I get to do everything. So I see things from all angles, but it's seeing the animals that come into us and actually maybe rehabilitating them a little bit, you know, and getting them used to us. It's knowing that an animal may in another establishment may be put to sleep because they're no longer wanted, so they come to us and then they live another 10 years. You know, it's actually seeing the enjoyment of the public actually getting to see these animals up close, and again just also seeing how the family work together, you know, and the keepers and the volunteers and students, because they are a vital part of Porfell as well, all networking because we all have different abilities to keep this place going. Do you know what? Dorothy the elderly donkey is the one that stands out the most to me. The reason being, if you see, everyone knows Dorothy the elderly donkey, and then you've got Kat, who is like the star, like when you come down onto the farm. Now, Dorothy actually came over from Italy, and she was actually pregnant with Kat at the time. She was actually used for breeding, and she was actually going to be made into sausages. So she came to Lou, I believe, first, and then we took her on. Obviously, the people in Lou weren't going to make her into sausages, but we obviously got her from Italy. So it's just stories like that the animals that we kind of get, that actually stand out to me the most. It's rewarding because actually she's been here now for over 14 plus years, maybe longer, and just to think like she actually wouldn't be here now if we hadn't, or the people hadn't rescued her. So it's things like that actually make me, like, that's the most rewarding, you know, they get to live out their life. So at Porfell, every animal has their own story to why they came here. And if you don't see one, ask a keeper and they will gladly tell you. Now I'm going to read this one just because I think it's a little bit special, and this is to do with our savannah cat Willow. So we originally had two savannah cats, and that was Willow and Timber, but unfortunately we lost Timber. So savannah cats Willow and Timber arrived at Porfell from Holland at 10 past 9, on Saturday night on the 4th of February 2012. They spent the previous 4 years at a AAP sanctuary for exotic animals after being seized at an airport in the Netherlands. They were detained following a flight from the USA because the owners had no CITES paperwork. Blood samples were taken and research of their parents' lineage showed they were classed as savannah cats, which are a mix of African serval and domesticated cats, Egyptian Mura. Porfell Wildlife Park were asked if they could give a home to these cats, and we said yes. So this just shows how people will illegally import cats all around the world and even into the UK. most about porfell is obviously not just because it's a family business and I'm part of the family, is if you come to porfell now and have a look, many years ago, before they started, it was just pure fields and greenhouses. So John Palmer, my father-in-law, and Joy Palmer, my mother-in-law, built everything alongside their family members with their bare hands. All the sizes of the enclosures are big for the animals, and it was all built with love and care. They've had no help. It was literally, this is a small family run business with no external help. Everything goes back into the next year or winter to get us through, okay, or to get the animals through, all right. And this place is actually just built on love and care for the animals, and so these animals have a safe place to live out the rest of their lives.